that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a minute to let me spotlight you.
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah. In a minute, I will share my screen. So thank you very much for inviting me to talk again on the tarot cards, which I love so much. Have you read The Shadow of the Wind, La Sombra del Viento, by the Spanish author Carlos Ruiz Zafón? It's a beautiful story. It starts a morning in Barcelona in the year 1945, and Daniel, the main character of the book, is a young boy, and his father, which is a owner of a bookshop, takes him to a book depository, el cementerio de los libros olvidados, the cemetery of forgotten books. And there is the caretaker, Andy, that says to Daniel, every book has a soul, the soul of the one who wrote it, and the soul of those who read it, live by it, and dream with it. And he continues that every time that someone reads a book, running their eyes through the letters, through the pages, the soul of the book grows and becomes stronger. Then the boy is allowed to pick up a book, and he picks up a magical book, The Shadow of the Wind. So, like Daniel, today we are picking up a book that is it belongs to the cemetery of forgotten books. It's a book, of course, of arcane wisdom, and we call it the Tarot. As any other book, it shares with them. But as we are told in The Shadow of the Wind, every time that someone dreams or meditates and thinks on its symbols, the soul of the tarot grows. Each time one of us, we have a special perspective, each one of us. And when we meditate and we can channel the higher vision, this perspective that is unique in each one of us is incorporated in the tarot when we meditate on it. Make the wisdom contained on it deeper. So the tarot, as we said last time, is a repository of this wisdom of the ages that is not only ancient but also modern, and it grows and is fed. It's the wisdom as is perceived, but all those enlightened souls that have meditated on its symbols. However, the tarot is also a very different book. It's a special book. It's a book that is not quite like the others because the language in which it is written, it's a symbolic language, and it's a language that is very different. It's a magical language. It's a language that has the capacity to transform the reader. The tarot, as we said last time, does not only contains an arcane teaching, it also has a magical transformative power, the transformative power of the symbolic language in which it is written, a language that is spoken by every enlightened soul, and that, as we learned in one of the lectures of the European school given by Erika, Blavatsky makes reference to this symbolic language. She calls it sensa in the preface of The Voice of the Silence. It is an artificial creation. It's a work of art that approximates that divine language whose characters are written in the book of nature and that can only be learned from the lips of the inner master. Now, there is another aspect that the tarot shares with every other book. It's its musicality. Every book, and we have heard this idea before, is like a musical composition. I don't remember if it was William James, the reference to William James that brought this. A well-composed book is like a song played in an instrument in tune with its whole body that will make it resonate in sympathetic vibration, delivering the true concord of well-tuned sounds. It is an ancient metaphor. An instrument in tune, like a well-written book, speaks of pleasure on earth and order in the cosmos, the fragility, but also the strength of beauty, and the quiver in our longing for and quest for love. So a well-tuned instrument, a well-written book has a transformative quality, an inherent magic with the ability to change us. Each phrase is a song that establishes an harmonic vibration in our soul. But this aspect is particularly enhanced in the tarot, in its innumerable combinations, and you can make infinite number of them. A divine symphony is expressed. There is music, there is sounds in the tarot cards. I will share now my screen. And then share. Can you see it? And then start. Yeah. Start the show, right? So this is the Esoteric Tarot. Today we will see the 7 doubles, in contrast with what we seen last time, which was about the mothers. Let me move this away. Oh, I don't know if I can. Well, yeah. We saw the Tree of Life. There is the arrangement of the tarot. And then we saw the three mothers that we visited last time. Yeah. We visited Aleph, the Fool, which, as we explained, it incorporates the transcendental vision of divinity and of mankind. It's a vision, higher vision. We visit Mem, the transcendental vision of substance and the mystery of matter, and Shin, the mystery of immortality, but not a metaphorical immortality, but an actual immortality. And these 3 keys can be rearranged. As any other composition of tarot cards, they can be arranged in many ways. And they can be arranged this way. And in this way, they sing a song. And this musicality, I want to start by singing this song. And the song goes like this. That's the song that the 3 mother letters sing. Shema, hearken. Hearken to what? To the transcendental vision of the divine. It is the first word of a well-known universal declaration of the unity of the divine and life, expressed in Hebrew. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. That express the oneness of God. And this is the message that is announced by the 3 mother letters and expressed in excruciating detail by the 3 mother letters. But the songs in the tarot are inexhaustible, as we can arrange it in many ways. We can sing more. And today, we will sing a new song. The song is about what we can hear. This is asking us to hear. Hear what? Here is what follows. The vision of the Fool. So we will be hearing today to the music of the 7 double letters, which are the alchemical metals. These are the 7 double letters of the Hebrew alphabet and its corresponding tarot keys. These are the alchemical metals, the 7 chakras, the 7 sounds of a musical scale. These are also the 7 planetary cards, and then we will go through them today. Very fast, and in a way, a little bit superficial, because there is lectures, many lectures can be given about any one of them. So we will pass and just revisit a basic teaching containing in this series. So, hearken, there is a song. There is a secret song hidden in plain sight there. I will give you a practical secret, so to speak, that is contained to show how this teaching, how this arcane teaching is incorporated in the arrangement of the tarot cards. So, but let's first revisit in this rapid way the main teachings contained in the tarot cards. And the first tarot card that I want to visit today is the Magician. The Magician who has the number 1 and has the letter Beth, the Hebrew letter Beth, whose value is 2, and which means house. Now, by this attribution of house, it's already indicating some of the attributions of Mercury, which is on building, architecture, geometry, and in consequence, the adaptations of material and many other practical applications of science involved. So it has to do with education. Yeah, but house building was called a mystery, and it was kind of a part of the training of priests in the past. The astrological attribution to this letter, to this card, is Mercury, and also that's the alchemical metal attributed to it. So it represents the god and the planet. So Mercury or Hermes is to Hermes it was attributed all the education, yeah. The quadrivium, the Pythagorean quadrivium is attributed to it with the mathematics, the geometry, the arithmetic, the astronomy, and the music, all of them hermetic sciences. It represents as well, the mercurial vibration represents intellect. And you see the yellow attribution on its color. It's a hue that it is stronger than the hue attributed to the letter 0. Now, the letter Beth there is a later rendition, the character. In the original, in the most primitive or the most earliest forms of the Hebrew alphabet, Paleo-Hebrew, and even before, the letter was the point of an arrow. And this is in relation with the number 1 because it's pointing to a point. It's making a point. So let me explain. If you see the picture, just step down and then see the whole picture. What the magician is doing is drawing power from above to deploy it to below. He's making a gesture that it means as above, so below. What it is above? Above, in his right hand, he has this wand, which has the color white, and that makes reference to the higher power in the universe, is to Kether, as in the Tree of Life. I showed the Tree of Life last time. He has in his head this infinite sign, which he could make reference to a higher state of consciousness. On the high, on the part of above, the house that he is building, the magician is building a house, and it is building a house in which these 5 roses are placed on the top. The red rose symbolizes desire. This is a Venusian flower. And being on high, they represent higher principles. What this symbol represents is that the higher wisdom is coming to the magician in the form tinted or influenced by the desires or by the knowledge that the magician has. So it's not pure consciousness that will be expressed by the magician. The magician will express the higher principles through his desires in particular form. And these desires are transformed by the flowers that are in the lower part of the garden. You see there roses and lilies. The roses are desires, cultivated desires, and the lilies is knowledge about the 4 worlds, the 4 Kabbalistic worlds that resume the manifestation. So this magician has cultivated his senses, which are represented by desire and by the roses, and his knowledge, so that he can be a better channel of the manifestation of the higher in the world. For this, and to do this work, you see the table. The table has the 4 implements of magic: the wand, the cup, the sword, and the pentacle. And these have many references. These are reference to the minor keys of the tarot as well, to the 4 worlds, to the name Yod, He, Wah, He, to the 4 to the four elements: fire, water, air, and earth. And the job of the magician is to rearrange these elements that had also a relationship with um, with um, with the senses, to produce beautiful forms according to the high. That is the general gist of the magician. Is the magician is a transformer. Is like Mercury, the god, or Hermes, which is only a messenger for something that is higher. A messenger of divinity. He's not the doer, and this aspect of not being the doer will appear more emphatic in a later card. So only one more detail that I want to point out in the magician is the belt. The belt is a serpent, so it refers wisdom, and it is also referring to eternity. The serpent is eating itself. It's a reference to Ouroboros, to the eternity. So it's eternal wisdom. So the magician is dressed with eternal wisdom, and it also represents then concentration and self-consciousness, something that we call self-consciousness, which is the consciousness that we use for awareness, that consciousness that we are aware. Now, this has a complement, that it is the high priestess. Now, the high priestess has the letter associated with it. It is Gimel. Its value is 3. Is the third letter, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, the third letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It has to do everything about polarity. Is the number 2, so it is poles, it is reciprocity, it is connection, and it is the high priestess. It is making reference to the substance, that substance that we saw in key 12 on the mystic perception of substance. This is the root of the substance. You see there the 2 columns of Solomon, Joachim and Boaz, with the letter Bet and Yod, and you see behind it the tree of life, represented that by the pomegranates and the palms, and the veil that has been torn apart when it said that it was torn apart by when Jesus died. That's a reference to that. It's it's associated with the moon, and it has the power of reflection, and it makes the main attribution to this as a psychological function is subconsciousness. Now, subconsciousness is not a new discovery. It is the word may be new, but that there in our personality there is something that is called subconsciousness, was well known by the mysteries in the past. Yeah, they not only knew about it, but they knew about the powers of subconsciousness. Subconsciousness, as represented here by the high priestess, is a complement of the magician, and they function together. This is the other part of our personality. The magician represents that part of our personality that they makes plans, points towards someone. It is symbolized by the masculine force, but this is symbolized by the feminine vibration, and this symbolizes this power of subconsciousness, memory, reproduction, replication, that aspect of us that is connected with everything, that knows everything about our health, our other hidden things. So when the goal of the magician is to communicate to the high priestess, because the high priestess is a constructive power, and the 3 of them, the magician, the fool, and the magician, and the subconscious, and the high priestess, represent the main 3 aspects of consciousness that are of practical value in the practice of occultism. It is because it is the channeling of higher forces through the magician to direct the powers of subconsciousness for the creation of a new world. So sorry, let me take a. So these are the 3 players that play a part in all the drama, the evolutionary drama, and the drama of the occult, of the esoteric. Yeah? They will be repeated. These 3 will be repeated in many ways, in several variations, but the basic interplay is this one: the self-consciousness of the magician. It works with and in rapport with the subconsciousness of the high priestess, which is the one that connects and brings materials and creates the whole environment, and all that under the direction of a superconscious power, which is the real player in all this. And how does this happen? What is the effect? The effect is what comes in the third card, that I want to explain today, the card of Venus. Venus is, in a way, this card represents the elaboration of the roses in the garden of the magician. This is about desire, and this is about creative imagination. One of the things that the magician has to do is to develop his imagination, to incorporate in his imagination the image of a higher mankind and a higher and more beautiful world. This card, Venus, is about beauty, it's about love, it's about, but it's a lot also about reproduction. You see a woman there, the Empress, is the Empress of the world. You see the wand that it has on his left hand, which is a wand of dominion, and it's a wand of dominion over the world. And but it's a priestess. So the card is very feminine, but a closer examination will show that there is a lot of masculine influence in there. The first one is that the Empress is pregnant. Yeah, is pregnant with the child of this masculine form of the Emperor, which is a card that it will appear later. And these reference to other cards are inevitable because the tarot works as a unit. It is the whole of it. So the cards cannot be separated or indicated in isolated form. They always have references to other cards. So this is the wife of the Emperor, and she is pregnant with the influence. Is the mother, is the brilliant mother, represented by Binah, which we call Aima, in contrast with Ama. Ama is the mother before being pregnant. Aima is the mother when she's pregnant by the influence of the father, the letter Yod, which is the letter of the father incorporated in his name. So this is the brilliant mother. One of its aspects, on which its correspondences, is called the luminous intelligence. The father, on the contrary, is called the illuminating intelligence. So this is a portrait of subconsciousness, that high priest that we saw, and that it is more in relationship with Ama, the dark mother. But when it becomes bright by the influence of the masculine, of what it is represented by the masculine form, in which it is enlightened and then produces and makes growth and is fertile, and it is about growth and the establishment of beauty. This card is about beauty. It is very related to what we were talking at before we start about this painting on Primavera, because this is a spring field. You see the wheat growing, etc., etc. There are other masculine symbols there. For example, the crown of stars. The realm of the father is the sphere of stars. The stars over the head of the Empress is the influence of this masculine sphere of the stars on her. There are other symbols of masculinity. The dove is a masculine dove, and then the waterfall is the verticality of the waterfall is also a masculine symbol. So this is the expression of the magician having influence subconsciousness for the creation of something that is beautiful. It's the representation of the cultivation of desire, of those roses which are in the garden of the magician. But there is not only roses, there is also the lilies. And this is the card that represents the cultivation of the lilies, the wheel of fortune. Now, this is a very interesting card because it represents and summarizes in one symbol the whole great work. All of it is in that card. Let's start with the letter. The letter is Kaf, and it symbolizes a hand in the act of grasping. So what it symbolizes it is the act of mental grasping. When we grasp something after working on it, and then we are toiling and working a lot, and then we understand finally, bang, oh, this I grasp now, and then I can do something with it. So that it is what it is meaning. Now, what it is grasping? It is grasping something that cannot be put in words, but it has to do with the grasping of the inner meaning of things. If you see the wheel of fortune is a circle, it's a zero. It's a zero, and that makes reference to the fool. It's a zero that it is color orange, which is a reference to the sun. But it has layers. It's the four worlds. There is the four lilies. It's the knowledge of all the things. So it is knowledge of the material realm, of the astral realm, of the creative realm, and of the archetypal realm, and how they operate. It's a key that represents and help us to understand what it is the relationship between these realms, which is not a simple cause and effect as sometimes we hear in some explanation. It's not just like oh, the spirit goes and then influences matter and that's the end of the matter. There is much more to it. It is much simple, and it's this grasping of the need of all this knowledge and what is its meaning. Is the grasping of meaning is related to philosophy, of course, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is about long travels that can be also long travels of the mind, but also philosophy, religion. So it is about grasping the relationship between that which means gives meaning to things and all that it is superficial and material, which has value as well. The knowledge of the physical world, the knowledge of biology and all those things that can be explained or can be theorized in very materialistic ways. Even if we have a materialistic explanation of something, there is something meaningful and inner to grasp. This going of the mind towards the inner is represented by the bull, by the direction of the bull on the left lower corner, that it is going to the center. Yeah, we will see another card in which this same disposition is inverted. So this grasping is going to the inner and understanding the inner. Yeah, it is what it is indicated by this gesture of the bull towards the lion. Is earth towards fire. The fire that it is associated with the first world of archetypal principles. So the matter representing and incorporating principle, the archaic arcane principles that it is. And of course you have the other figures. Now the four figures are of course the cherubim of Ezekiel that also make an appearance in the Apocalypse, but also represent the fixed signs of the zodiac. And then in the four of them represent something that is stable, something that it is permanent. That's the message of the fixed sign of the zodiac. They represent the four-letter name of God in the Kabbalah, the Yod, He, Wah, He, which is the principal name in that tradition. So it represents that with that which stays, is that what is, which was, and which will be. In contrast with the wheel, which is turning, yeah, is the wheel of fortune. In astrology, it represents good fortune, yeah, and there is an association of richness with it, and the richness that it promises is the richness produced by the grasping the principles that operate. And then you see the three that operate in the world and in the inner realm, but you see also the three symbols, and those three symbols are again representations of the super consciousness, the self-consciousness, and the subconsciousness. And there is a very interesting aspect, because the red here attributed to this figure red, which is Hermanubis, which is the self-consciousness in evolution, which is in a specific position that indicates that in this epoch, this consciousness is growing and becoming more spiritual. But the relationship between the color yellow, which is attributed to the serpent, and to the Sphinx, which is attributed to to subconsciousness. Yes, superconsciousness is the yellow color attributed to the serpent, which is related to earth and to the subconsciousness. But the sphinx, which is also represented about, is a superconscious sphinx representing higher attainment, and they are inverted. And there is a very important concept there, because the way to the higher is through subconsciousness. I mean, that is I will say something, I will not explain much about it, but it's a very, very deep principle that is worth meditating. In this interplay between the three consciousness, even the self-consciousness is making the link, making the link between superconsciousness and subconsciousness in a way in which subconscious is the transmitter of higher principles to self-consciousness. Now, this, I don't know if I managed to explain very well, but there is a lot of meditation that can be supported by it. Now, so we have the magician, we have which is the self-consciousness, we have the subconsciousness represented by the high priest, then the development of desire and the impregnation of desire on the subconsciousness to produce beautiful things, and the knowledge that is associated. We need to build a personality that knows how to do things, that it has skills that can add value. Yeah, it's not just intention. It's not just, oh, I want to be part of I want to be a disciple of a master. Well, what can you do? Yeah, you can do nothing. Well, what can the master do with you? So we need to elaborate and develop personality in this form. And then when we have enough elaborated, comes the next, the tower. Yeah, the tower. This is shows a catastrophe. It's something.
Orlando, we cannot listen to you. You have to unmute your mic. Something happened.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. I have got a message also asking for you to try to speak a little slower, please.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Then, yeah, I'm in trouble because I have too much to say and I have little time. So
No, don't worry about the time. Just make
I
your
don't want to.
presentation. Make your presentation, okay? Yeah.
All right. So the tower. The tower is the Tower of Babel, and it's about language. If you see, there are 22 rows of.
Just a minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Janet is saying you had just got to it being a disaster, Orlando.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're anyway. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's a disaster, but not really. This is a very positive event that happens in consciousness. However, it's an event that destroys the notion of personality that we have, the old personality. And this is the product of the development of those personal characteristics, desire and knowledge, with the aim of channeling higher principles and and recognizing this duality of our personality so that we can produce an effect in the world. When this is developed, this catastrophe happens. And you see this crown is torn apart. And the two principles of personality that we have been talking about, self and subconsciousness, fell. That is the concept of what was the meaning and what was the function of those two aspects. And this crown is the crown that it is falling, is the crown of separativity. Is the main error in which we fall all the time before we are fully enlightened. Even very highly enlightened souls fall in this trap. It's a trap of believing that our higher will is separated, that it is ours, that it's something that belongs to our personality. Is this contradiction to this idea of the magician as a channel for a higher ideas, for a higher spirit, that it is the same in all mankind? So this is a catastrophe, is the Tower of Babel, and it's a catastrophe when we realize that this notion of the personality as separate from the others is grown, and our world is destroyed. Is destroyed because because uh, because it cannot hold anymore. Yeah, it is in a way self-destroyed, because the material in which it is built, the material of the tower, is brick, is not stone. In the symbolism of the Kabbalah, the stone is the union of the Son with the Father. Stone the Hebrew word is eben, and it by Kabbalistic methods is decomposed in two, Ab and Ben, which is the Father and the Son. The material of that tower is not the stone, it's bricks. It's faulty, it will fall down. So it makes reference to all these misguided concepts, philosophies, religions, scientific theories, etc., that enhance the notion of materiality and separativity. Yeah? That brings false ideas in our description of the world. And you see, when the ray, the light that destroys it, is in the form of a thunderbolt, and it has the form of a tree of life. And then you have these other forms, these yods. That yod is the flame letter, the letter that composes all the other letters, and they are in a form which represent to the right the tree of life, and to the left this eight, which is a symbol of the infinite when it is horizontal, as we saw in the key of the magician. But he is upright to represent the union of above and below. The two figures there, the woman and the man. You see, the woman is subconsciousness again. It's blue. It has a little bit of red, as well as the man. The man has red with a little bit of blue, which to represent this union of activity and subconsciousness that is part of all the two modes of consciousness in a personality. And you see the crown in the woman, which is the false, this crown of separativity, and this is falling down. And this has to do also with the word. Yeah, we receive a word that is indicated by the letter. The letter is P, and P is the mouth as an organ of speech. Yeah? And this is the word of God, so to speak, that destroys these edifices of ignorance that we build, that will be destroyed. It is a reference to this language that I was talking at the beginning, the language that is spoken by nature, that we want to approximate, and that initiates or enlightened people have approximated you in the construction of these magical languages. So this is Mars. This is the planet. This is the Mars, the metal iron, and this is the experience. And then this concept of the personality as a separate entity is replaced by a new concept of personality, which is symbolized by the sun. We are children of the sun. What does that mean? In the first place, is the sun is a symbol of a higher consciousness. You see it there. It is the sun with a face, meaning that this occult knowledge that says that the sun in reality is not just a dead object, is the body of an enlightened being, in which all his aspects are fully developed. You see the rays there, the straight triangles, what represents self-consciousness, and the wavy line and the wavy rays that represent the subconsciousness, and all of them are expanded and developed, and it's a magnificent being, which we are all children of this being, because the earth, all the activity in the earth is solar activity. We breathe air, we breathe sunlight, we eat sunlight, We live by sunlight. That's what we are. And this is represented by the knowledge, the birth to that concept of personality as children of the sun and as channels of this image and this higher principle is represented by the two the boy and the girl, which are is the new are a new subconsciousness and a new self-consciousness reborn. Yeah, they are blonde because it's the reference to the sun, to the yellowness of the sun. This some people have some problems with this reference that is a woman or a man and then there is blonde or whatever, but they are not meant to be neither sexist nor racist. It's just symbols. Yeah, so this blondness of the boy and the girl represent a human being, any race, of any gender or whatever, who has this solar consciousness, and they are friends each other. One of the problems that we have is that we are not friends with our subconscious aspect. We are not in harmony with the subconscious aspect, and this is what the tower, the disaster of the towers, bring. It's a catastrophe that breaks this disharmony. So it's a positive. It's a very good event, although it is catastrophic, and it produces pain. Yeah, Mars in astrology produces pain and discomfort, but it's a discomfort who will bring this notion of the high of a new reborn, of a new beginning. These are children. When the enlightenment comes, when this ray will turn apart and destroy this old conception of the old personality, a new, we will be born like children. This is the children that were referenced when Jesus was saying in the Bible, no, we have to be like a child to enter into the kingdom. So this is the child. It's not a child. It's not a childish person. It's a child which is reborn as a child with this solar consciousness. And this is also referenced by the flowers, the sunflowers. You may see that there are four sunflowers that are looking outside, and there is one that it is turned towards the sun. This is that is not fully open, and the meaning of that is that we are at a stage in which this new consciousness is being in open. We are not yet there, all of us, yeah, but it is opening, and this represents that kingdom of nature in which composed both all those people who have made that step, that have already acquired that solar consciousness. And there are several graduations of them. Some of them are very advanced, and they are we call them masters and avatars and whatnot. We have many names for them. Also, other people are more modest. They are starting the life as solar beings, and then we don't know most of them because that is a very private event. One detail that is interesting to note is the number of yods. The orange yods, again the letter of the Father, is 13, and 13 is the number of love and unity, Aheva and Ahad in Hebrew. And by the process of gematria, this has the name 13. And 13 is a very, very important number in all Kabbalah, because not only because it has to do with unity and love, but also it has to do with the development of other names anyway, that's a very that can be very, it's very arithmetical, because all this is very arithmetical. If you see the measures in the cars and all those things, the ratios are indicated, as well as sounds and things like that. One thing interesting to notice is that the wall there is a wall of stone. It's a wall made of stone. It's something stable that will remain. Is part of the kingdom. This wall. What does this wall mean? That's something for meditation. But this birth doesn't end there. There is a development, and finally there is a conclusion. There is a conclusion represented by this. That is not really a conclusion, but it's a restart to in another level. This represents the dancer at the center of the world, the adept fully developed. In his right hand, the knowledge of the involution of the spirit. In the left hand, the knowledge and the dominion of the evolution of a spirit. So he's having this triangle. He's fully integrated his two aspects. He's an hermaphrodite. This hermaphrodite is the integration of the two aspects of subconsciousness. And then you see that the robe, the letter that it surrounds him, the veil, is a letter Kaf, making reference to key 10. So key 10, as you saw, there has all these other the cherubim as well. It has the four astrological fixed symbols: Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. Now, the detail here is you see that Taurus is going outside because he's in the center. And as I have said before, when we arrive to the high, to the center, we discover that the desire, the divine desire, is to express, is to manifest, is to go to earth. It's not just to remain there doing nothing like in Beatitudes or something like that. It is the production of something beautiful, of something higher, of a paradise on earth. So this is the desire, or the divine desire. And this is also associated with the letter. The letter is the letter Tav, and it means mark. Is the logos, is what it is, what marks the manifestation. Yeah, so it is this completion. It is what it is represented. You will notice the zero sign around it, which is this vegetable arrangement. You will notice that it has 22 parts in 3. Each one of them represents each one of the tarot cards, which are 22, and these are the elements of consciousness in a human being, and they are three. They have 3 parts because each one of these aspects of consciousness has a 3-partite function: integration, disintegration, and stabilization. And they are. It's an artificial construction. It's not something produced by nature. So this state, this higher state, which is also made reference as cosmic consciousness, this is the state of cosmic consciousness. I'm sure you have heard this term before because there are books published under this name. So this cosmic consciousness, which is the consciousness of the cosmos, the title is not just the world, it's the universe. Is the consciousness of the universe as the unity of the universe and the dominion of it. But this is possible by the construction of this personality, that it is well equilibrated and well balanced. The ratios there are very important. This zero is, the ratios is 8 of height and 5 of width. And 5 and 8 are very interesting numbers. They are part of the Fibonacci series, and they are also they can be expressed in a pentagram, and then their division is an approximation to 5, the golden ratio. So in its construction, is saying something about the need to construct a personality that can be offered and can be at the server of a higher principle. It's not just anything. It's not just the personality produced by nature. It's something. It's a work of art. This what it is developing the magician through the agency of subconsciousness and with the help and an integration with the help is the production of a personality that can be offered to this standard of being, which is represented by the sun, so that to produce something to join into the higher work of the divine. So this is a very fast visit of the cards. It's very fast. I didn't cover everything that could be covered. If you want for each card, you can talk hours and hours and hours. But I want to go and give a conclusion, because we have these keys in this order, in their natural order. But as we did before, we can arrange it in a different order, and then I will explain something that it is very interesting there. Now, before going into that, I want to say a few things in this number of ways in which these cards can be arranged, because it's a thing that is very interesting in itself. There are 7 cars, 7 planets, and each one of its arrangements will produce some knowledge. Some is an arcane knowledge. Now, how many ways to arrange these cards are possible? Well, the number is something that is called a 7 factorial. Is 5040. Is the number that is obtained by multiplying 1 by 2 by 3 by 4 by 6 by 7. Yeah, that's the number, and it's 540. But it has two interesting things to say about this number. In the first place, it is equal to 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. So, and it's a unique number from 1 to 10 that has this property. And this points very clearly to the 7th Sephirah, which is the Sephirah of Venus, which was the entrance to the higher mysteries. So it's very interesting to note that there is something constructed in these numbers, but there is more in this number. 5040 is a Platonic number. Plato gives a special meaning to this number. In the laws, he says that this is the ideal number of citizens because it is divisible by 12 twice, meaning that you can do by 12 and then do by 12 again, and then you get a whole number again. Which whole number? 35. Now, 35 is part of the Fibonacci number 3, 5, 8, etc. that we make reference before to the 5 and 8 in key 21. And of course, 12 times 12 is 144, which points to the New Jerusalem. So there is a whole intricate esoteric or arcane wisdom which can be developed through meditation in this numeric association. So I wanted just to mention that to let you know, to point out to the fact that there is a number symbolism. The mysticism of numbers and of letters is imbued in the tarot. It is part of the construction. It's the heart of it. It's this Pythagoreanism that it is embedded fully on it. And all these numerical musings have value, arcane value. So that was an example. But now I want to talk about this development because let's see, you have there to the left Saturn, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, the Moon, and Mercury. And those are the 7 planets, the 7 alchemical planets, and those are the natural, the reversed order in which the planets can take. Because as we saw with the 3 mother letters, we can put it in their natural order from 1 to 1, 12, 19, but then we can reverse it, and that points to evolution. One is involution, the other is evolution. This one is evolution because we have inverted it. But there is a problem there. There is a problem because if you see the normal, they are associated also with the chakras. And this is the normal correspondence, the natural place of the chakras in the human body. You see, you start Saturn, then Mars, then Jupiter, then the Sun, then Venus, then the Moon, and then Mercury. That's the normal association. But here you have something different. Yeah. First is the Saturn, then the Sun, and then the natural order in reverse is it follow. Is there a mistake? No. There is a secret teaching there that it is very rarely published. In the order of the chakras, many people and many traditions follow this. But in many esoteric traditions, you do this because Saturn is related to the Kundalini. If you follow this, when you wake up the Kundalini and then you leave it go through Mars in a natural way, the force of Kundalini will be wasted. However, if after awakening Kundalini, the idea of the high, the wish, the desire of the magician to attain the high, it's invoked, then the energy of the Kundalini will go through Mars, transcend it, and go through the other chakras. And this is indicated by the simple position of the tarot in the order. I have seen these published only in one very obscure tantric manual in India. I don't know all of them, of course, but this is a detail that in the Western tradition is very important. Is the introduction at the first stage of this image of the new human being, of the reborn human being as a solar being, yeah, which then will conduct the inner energy towards the high, not in a natural way. It's an artificial construction, but that is the importance of education and the development and the purification and the strengthening of desires and of knowledge in the idea of a new human being. Yeah, that's the responding very tightly to the question, what do you want? So that is the song. So that song, I will play it again. We will have.
Yeah, just a minute. You are speaking 60 minutes now. Just to.
Okay, I will finish in 5 minutes. Yeah, I will just give you. I want you to hear the song of the Enlightenment. That's what it is singing there. So, what it is, how it is done. So the answer that it is hinted, this solarity, it is hinted in this 4 plus 3, which is the 7. But there is also the 4 times 3, the 4 practices developed through the 3 principles, and that is the subject of the 12 simple letters. Now, this is the subject, and the interplay. This is the interplay. If you see the interplay of the subconsciousness and consciousness under the guidance of superconsciousness, but this development of this knowledge is for another time. Thank you very much.